Good evening, good friends of the channel. Welcome back. If you may recall, a couple of, was it days or maybe a week or something ago, I made an episode where I tried to use GIMP as my main graphics software to manipulate graphics, to kind of do my day job in. And today we're doing exactly the same thing, but in a different software, which you may have heard of or you may have not heard of. This software here, it's called Photopea or Photopea. And this is actually a browser-based software that you can use right now on pretty much any computer. I'm pretty sure you can actually use this on a phone. This software very, very closely mimics Photoshop, and that's why I wanted to have a go at it today to see whether I can do my day job. Now, for those of you who are new here, I'm a graphic designer by day. That's my job. I have to sit down and primarily use Photoshop in order to create graphics that sell. These are going to be like banners or promotional material for social media, or maybe even printable media, like leaflets, posters, things like that. I do all the graphic stuff there, and I use Photoshop all the time. This software is, say what you want about it, it is king when it comes to corporate stuff or just in general professional work. You can't really beat Photoshop. But we're going to test that theory here today. Now, my friends, I have a banner that I would have made. This is actually one that I made at work. This is what my work kind of looks like. Okay, this isn't the best example of a banner. I just kind of pulled this out because I had it. This is what I end up doing most of the time. And what I'm going to try and do in this episode is try and recreate almost exactly the same thing using this software. Now, if you want to access this, all you have to do is go on your favorite browser and type in Photopea, and you will get this website coming up. All you have to do now is click Start Using Photopea. But what we're going to do is straight away click New Project, and let's see if I can type in the sizes here. 82 by 400, and here is the beautiful thing. You can instantly just put it as 72 DPI, and you can pick the color profile. That's something I actually struggled with on GIMP earlier on. And then we click create, and there we are. I mean, this looks very familiar to Photoshop. Now, as I said, I use Photoshop a lot, so hopefully this environment is actually going to be familiar enough for me to just go ahead and use it now. We'll obviously see that as we go along. Here we are, started straight away, and I'm going to grab an image of this boot that I found online. I'm not actually sure what boot this is. I just found it on the internet straight away. I can't see. It's under the background. Okay, cool. I was already worried. Let's see if, okay, in Photoshop, Control T lets you transform. No clue how to do it here. Edit, maybe, layer. It's going to be a bit more complicated because obviously this is browser based, and clicking Control T is going to give me a new layer. I think what I'm going to have to do is come over here and then, okay, here's our boot. Now, the first task that I'm going to have to do is cut this boot out. And for that, I'm going to actually go in here and change the color of the background. Oh, this is fantastic. Straight away, this feels like home. If you're like a genuine Photoshop user, if you use that software all the time to design, to do whatever you need to do, this already feels like home. You notice I just double clicked on the background and I was greeted with a bunch of options. That's exactly how it works on Photoshop, and I find that very intuitive. That's something I couldn't get out of GIMP last time. So I'm going to go for like this yellow orangey color that we had in the previous one, just so we have that as a background. And I can now go in here. Okay, all works fantastic. As you notice, the banner is rather small, but the reason for that is that we put this on the website, and when it's on the website, you want images to load as fast as possible. That's why we don't make the biggest sizes for these things. Like, they still look decent at this size, but that is why this might look a little pixelated. If you were doing this, I don't know, for a different website or for a larger image on the website, you obviously have to make it larger. Then that would look a lot better. But this is just how I work, and this is how our system works. So I'm going to continue in doing it exactly the same way as that. So now I'm going to see, do we have a select feature? Ooh, for a better, okay, well, hold on. Press the button again. Okay, no. So I can't select the subject. That doesn't work very well. This is a fantastic feature. Okay, it's already a premium feature. They gotta make their money somehow, I guess, right? I guess we're gonna go in and do this manually. Unless the quick selection tool is good. Okay, that kind of worked. I'm gonna kind of use this to clean up now. Can I subtract? And then if I go in here, I'll be able to clean this up a little bit. No, does it even work? Slightly different For some reason, it very easily double clicks. I'm gonna add to this part again. Is that add? Unite. God. Yes, unite. Let's try unite. I think that's the option we want here. I'm just going to go around and obviously cut this boot out and try and do it the best as I can. Maybe I'll cut the video here, but actually that looks rather good. I might not even have to do that. Let's zoom out over here, and just like in Photoshop, I instantly have the option to create a mask. Fantastic. There's one issue I'm noticing at the moment is that the scaling looks terrible on this thing. I don't know whether that's my fault. Can I do a little feather on this? So like a 0.3 maybe? Okay, I'm going to turn off anti-aliasing. Results are questionable here. This isn't exactly what I wanted it to look like, but I think it will do for now. Now, if you notice from the previous banner here, I have a couple of boots. So let's go ahead and do that first. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this boot. In the other one, I had multiple like versions of it. Here, I'm just going to duplicate it a couple times, and we'll do 2 on each side. So I need 1 more. And if you didn't know that about Photoshop, you can go ahead and drag a layer into the new layer and it'll make a new one. Let's do free transform again. No, that didn't work. It was Control-Alt-T. Was that it? No, that's... Okay, so here we are. I've done it. I've got a couple of these boots lined up very nicely. It wasn't too hard of a job. It came out pretty decent. I just got the alignment correct here. But we've got the boots in order. So that's like a fair amount of work done already. Now for the next step, I'm going to go ahead and add the shadow underneath them. So I'm going to make a new layer, bust out the brush tool real quick. This also works very differently to Photoshop, but we're getting a general thing working here. The only issue I've had so far, and I still have, is that the selection of these isn't very good. It looks kind of trash. Let's go over here to free transform again, so I kind of have it lined up in the middle. Now let's see if I can grab all of these, throw them in a layer, in a folder, and then apply it. Yes, okay. This is where a lot of the magic happens for me. This tool for me is quite essential for any sort of graphic design software. This is where I kind of refine the edge of these products that we place on the banner. I'll use this to add a subtle glow of color from the background to add a bleed to it, so it's not like so cutthroat on the page. So this is a very important thing for me, and I'm glad to see that it's working. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is add an inner shadow, which is normal, and I'm going to use the color from the background. The angle and distance will be this, so it kind of loops in around the entire thing. Another thing I'm going to do is go over to color overlay and change it to color, and also make the boots a tiny bit warmer. That's also going to blend them fantastically into the background, making them stand out less, but still being very nice, prominent in the screen. Let's see if I can add an effect here. Brightness and contrast, fantastic. Is there an ability to do clipping mask? No, okay, clipping masks, not sure if they work. Okay, there's a clip, okay, just had to do that. Let's play with the contrast a little bit, make these look a little bit better. This is a simple tool that most programs have, and they'll make them work pretty well. I'm not too happy with the way the thing is cut out, so I'll have to see if I can do anything about that. Usually in Photoshop, what I'll do is I'll refine the layer mask, but unfortunately I don't think I can do that on here. It's looking decent already. Now what I'm going to need is a quick tag off the internet, so I'm going to go ahead and look somewhere on like a free platform if that's available to me, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I wasn't able to find the exact tag I wanted, but I did find a picture on Pexels, which I'm just going to cut around and then use that as the tag. So here's the image, and I've got the sale tag, as you can see here. All I'm going to do is grab the polygonal, this tool. Let me just put that above here, do the same thing with the layer, boom, Bob's your uncle. I do not like this transform thing, but I'm sure that's something you can easily change. Probably somewhere in the future, somewhere in the settings. Duplicate this layer a couple times. Can I do Control J? Oh, fantastic. I need 3 more, add all of these. And now, again, with the tedious thing, because I haven't set it up properly, I'm gonna do the free transform real quick, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I've set up all the tags. I'm gonna group them real quick, call them tags, duplicate this layer real quick, and throw it above here just to add a little bit of a pop to them. Smoothing 100% because I'm using a mouse. I don't want to plug in my graphics tablet over here. Let's zoom in here and do little tag hoops. Little tag hoop here as well. Okay, that's gonna lag a little bit. That's okay. Here, over here, and another one like this. So it kind of got the hoops going. What I'm going to do is slightly lower the opacity just to blend it in with the environment. The hoops are done, the sail tags are done. And now I need the arrows and the logos, which we're going to take a random logo from something. So what better logo to go with than none other than the reliable, the Speed Demon, the professionally produced, engineered, designed Toyota. Yes, my friends, good friends of the channel, we're going to use a Toyota logo on these boots. First thing I'm going to obviously do is color overlay it to white. Matches the design of the previous thing. Fantastic thing I can do on here. God, I hate this transform thing. Now it's time for the arrows. And these are going to be pretty much exactly the same as we just did with the other layer. So I'm going to grab the pen tool and I'm going to swap it to white. Do about a 4. Okay, maybe not a 4, maybe a 3. And let's go ahead and draw these beautiful lines and try and make an actual arrow out of it. This is the exact same way I did it on the other banner, which yes, it's a bit janky, but it did work. Now, if I do Control 0, fantastic. What I'm gonna try and do is slightly refine the edge here because it's really annoying me. What I'm going to do now off camera is add a couple finishing touches. This isn't anything you've not seen here yet. All I'm going to do is add a couple shadows here and there just to kind of refine this thing, and then we'll come back and compare the two and see what went well and what could be done better. So I'll be right back. So here we are. The final product is done. The work is done. This took, from what I can see in the recording, about 30 or so minutes. It wasn't 30 minutes, more like 20 something minutes. Usually I can make a banner like this a little bit quicker on Photoshop. Obviously I'm way more used to Photoshop in that way, but now it's time to show you the final product. So let's have a look. Here is the final Toyota boot on sale, ready to go, ready to be shipped over to you at the click of a button. The experience here was not bad. Really, it wasn't terrible. I'm actually quite surprised how capable this software is for being something that's simply in your browser and free. Like, this was completely free to do. As you saw, we did have a limitation, but you can use most of this program for absolutely free, and it worked fantastic. You can see them side by side. They don't look much different. Granted, the one on the right has much better quality, but I'm pretty sure if I put this at 100%, we would have had better export. It works a little bit differently than Photoshop. I'm not terribly disappointed with the outcome here. I actually think it doesn't look that bad. This could easily be used on the website. Obviously, I don't have the nicer tags, but that's all paid stuff. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you're actually rather happy to see that this free software can make something comparable to Photoshop. Now, if any of you remember the previous episode, you realized that I was also able to make something that was fairly capable. I think what I did wrong in that episode is I didn't directly copy the banner I was copying. Like, I just made a banner that was completely different. In the future, I'll obviously be making them like I'm doing here, just so it's bit of a better comparison, because then we can actually click and compare this stuff. I've got to say, the previous episode I used GIMP, and I actually enjoyed using GIMP. This feels way more familiar for a Photoshop user, which is what I am. I use Photoshop every single day for a long amount of time. Obviously, I'd need to do a little bit of tweaking with like the transform and stuff, but other than that, this is so capable that I happily use this to make some YouTube banners, maybe even some professional work if I, let's say, took a laptop and I didn't have Photoshop on there. Would this replace Photoshop for me? The problem is I've gone too accustomed to that software now for anything to replace it. But if I had no choice, if Photoshop did die and I had a choice between GIMP and this, I'd choose this. I think I would choose this. I love the fact that GIMP works well and have had an amazing update, but it's not quite there for me yet in terms of the usability. The only reason I would choose this is because I'm a Photoshop user. If I was starting from scratch, I would completely use GIMP. If you're learning GIMP from scratch and you learn it from the beginning, that software is incredibly powerful for something that's free. So with that, the verdict is here. You let me know in the comments below whether I did a decent job here or whether you were surprised by the abilities of this software, Photopea. In the comments for mentioning Photopea, by the way, you know who you are. Thank you so much for pushing through the idea to make a video like this. I was originally going to do a different software as well, but thank you so much for that suggestion, and thank you for your time here. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy it, leave a like. If you want to see more stuff by me, hit that subscribe button. If not, then have a good day and watch someone else. But in the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoy yourself some free software and make something cool with it. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.